going on, Trey? Happy Feel Good Friday.
Happy,
looking good, feeling good.
Yeah, looking good, feeling. I love the message on your shirt there. Have fun.
Have fun.
Oh boy, Oberto,
this
come
is a
on,
classic.
man.
I have to bring the vintage out today. You know,
I love it.
Yeah,
I'm
celebrate
here.
Seattle.
I'm here for it all day
Absolutely.
long, all day. And you know, we got to
real quick.
The black violin socks are on
the
deck.
Socks. Well, shout out to Black Violin. That was an amazing show. Oh my gosh.
We didn't even get a chance to really dive into that. That was just last Friday, right?
Yeah, 2 Live.
Oh, it was 2 Live crew.
Yeah.
And you know what? I got to say, special shout out to that team. I know it was only one night only, but they really paid homage to some of our elders in community.
That was a beautiful moment.
They said, you know what? We want to integrate this into our show. I love that piece where they were just like, we're going to freestyle.
Yeah.
And we do this in every city, but this one's for you, Seattle. And particularly this one's for those elders that were mentioned. They called out their names, Dr. Mims. They called out my grandmother because they were both celebrating their birthdays. And also Miss Patricia Ballantyne and Mona Terry.
Yes.
Shout out to you guys again. It was phenomenal.
It really was. Shout out to the elders, man. Thank y'all for paving the way.
You know what? It was a great thing too, because I started my day with you on Friday.
Right.
We were at Black Violin together, even though I didn't see you there, but we know we were in the building.
Yep.
Then we ended the night all the way
communion,
right.
Man. I'm like,
late night.
Yes, that was so. That was a beautiful Friday. And I'm so happy that I get to like start my Fridays with you. And it just really like sets the tone for the day. Honestly, I like, if you're not tuning in to Feel Good Friday every Friday and getting your day right, I don't know what you're doing, because it's live over here.
It's always live. And you know, I'm telling you, like the elders in the building with that music that was getting played.
Oh yeah.
I mean, my grandma was like, oh geez. I said, Grams, don't worry. This is only on Friday nights. It's for the younger crowd, but you're here to enjoy yourself. And she so did. You know, of course, Dr. Mims was rocking to the beat. It was just great to be there with everybody. And really, communion is always a space where you're destined to see somebody, you know.
The intergenerational turn up is real. Yes. Love that place.
I loved it. Great Friday last week. So you guys get to hear about our whole recap. But T-Dub, you're constantly out here in community. You got some things you're bringing to us this week as well. We get to dive in about this artist, Perri Rhoden. Tell us.
Yes. So VMC's own Perri Rhoden, who is an amazing artist born and raised in Seattle, just opened her latest exhibition called Release at the VMC Gallery. Actually last night. So we just opened last night. We were there. People were coming through and seeing her amazing art. And she really like did an amazing job just like installing the whole space. So just a little backstory. The VMC Gallery was actually donated to the collective by Molly Moons of Molly Moons Ice Cream. She saw us out there painting the mural on the street. She appreciated what we did, and she actually gave us space. So thank you to Molly Moons for that. And so since then, we've been activating the space as a gallery, and Perri's show, which is just opened last night, is our 4th show. And I think we have a little clip of Perri Rhoden.
I feel like not just me, but a lot of people, specifically Black people, have had to carry so much weight, so much shit, in more or less words. And I'm realizing that, like, in the midst of the last 2 years, personally, that's been a lot of grief, a lot of pain, or me having to like work through my own personal development, and that like could be a long list of things. But in the midst of it all, I've had to find my own joy, and so through that discovery, I've worked through that like.
Wow. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. When you talk to artists, you hear the inspiration behind the vision, you know, because when you're just walking through, sometimes you're just experiencing it for your own self. But to hear exactly what the inspiration is, that's always got to mean something, not only to me, but to you, T-Dub, as an artist.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this particular show that Perri put together called Release is about the process of grief and the stages of grief that you go through and that we've been going through the pandemic, particularly from the Black female perspective, and finding joy at the end of that tunnel. You know what I mean? And it can be so difficult, but that process is a real thing. And she's depicting through art, through multimedia art, what that process looks like for her. So, I mean, being able to share that part of yourself, that depth of yourself, you know, in that way, it's just always inspiring. So shout out to Perri for that.
Yeah, shout out to Perri for that. Let's put that flyer up so people know how they can check in with this show if you have it, Salman. There it is. Absolutely. Right there. Yeah. Perri looks great in that photo,
Yeah,
by
she
the way.
killing the game. She killing the game.
I was like, there we go. Get it, girl.
Yeah.
I love it. There it is. March. It's
March
so
10th,
it's still
yeah.
on.
Yeah, last night. So we do public openings for Capitol Hill Art Walk. So March 10th and I believe April 14th will be the next public opening. But you can hit up Perri directly if you want to do a private viewing.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, this is what I'm talking about. I'll give a double shout out there to Molly Moons. It's needed, right?
Yeah.
When we understand how those spaces make our city better.
Absolutely.
They make our city great. And, you know, I got to say, as I was just telling you, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even know about some of these things happening in community. So thank you for always opening my eyes to it. You know, a couple Fridays ago, you talked about the Fry Museum.
Yeah.
And you talked about this amazing show there. And honestly, I'm a fan of Chris Jordan and his brother, Will Jordan. So I had to go check it out. But I will say that it was so inspiring.
Yeah.
Like the inverted paintings. I mean, when you were describing it, I was like, what?
I knew my words weren't doing it justice. You just have to go see it. Honestly, it's next level.
It's next level. And it is so it's so genius, to be honest. It's like pure genius. Seriously. You know, I was thinking, okay, what does that process look like? You must know exactly which each one of these colors is going to look like inverted.
Right.
And so then you paint with that in mind, like, okay, this actually equals that. This equals that. Right. So I'm going to just go ahead and do my thing based on that. But the idea is that it's interactive in that way and really allows the audience to be drawn in is a whole nother thing.
It's a whole nother thing. And it really, like, this is proof positive that young Black artists are changing the game around what it looks like to experience art in the gallery setting. You know, like having a piece that people can actually touch is unprecedented. You know what I mean? Having pieces that are inverted in the color form, unprecedented. Nobody's doing that, but we're changing the game in that way. So I'm excited for what's to come.
Oh my gosh. I felt like a kid in a candy store. Yeah. So I had to give you a shout out for opening my eyes to what's going on out there in community. And, you know, as always, you got more. There's a whole nother. Yeah. Tell us about Joey Nix.
Yeah. So 2022 T-Dub is going to be outside. I don't know about y'all, but I'm trying to do everything. And I want to give a huge shout out to all of my creatives, anybody who's creating space for people to experience and understand things and release things and commune about things. Like super shout out to y'all. But this next clip, the next photo that we actually have is Joey Nix, my bro Joey Nix, my partner in crime on the VMC BLM mural. He was the other person that helped us organize that whole situation. So he actually did a show recently called Hold On. And it's actually opening this evening to the public this Friday tonight. So if you're down in the Belltown area, 2301 First Ave is the address. He will be there. You can see his latest works. Joey is so dope. He is like one of the dopest painters. Spray paint, oil, you name it. He's doing it really tight. And he's just an amazing human being. And so I just wanted to give Joey a shout out in that regard. So yeah. And the show Hold On is basically talking about the idea of like, giving things pause. Like we've been going through a lot. Like we don't have to try to like get back to normal so quickly. Like just take a moment, take a breath, you know, and really just feel what's going on right now. So it's just, man, folks is out here doing it, man.
You know, folks are doing it, but art is just so unique in that way.
Yeah.
Right. Where it has the opportunity to really take something that we're all experiencing.
Right.
But then give it its own personal twist and spin.
Sure.
And, you know, now you're always giving me reasons to get outside. I'll tell you that right now, like to just be out here in our community to experience what our artists are doing, because it's one of a kind work. Like you were just talking about these things that are unprecedented. But I feel that way with all art because it has that unique background and perspective, always that personalization of the story that really funnels it all.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, this really brings me to Pig Cayetano. I mean, you know, last episode, this past Monday, Art of the Matter, episode 4, you know, I know that people in Belize probably are just like, man, this guy's a legend. And you got to be there with him. I mean, we both did, but you got to really connect with them. And, you know, the episode was amazing, T-Dub.
It really was. And I'm so it's bittersweet for me because this is my last bit of Belize footage. So this is my last opportunity to just like go back and take a stroll down memory lane through these shows. So that was my second Belize episode, my final Belize episode. We're going to be bringing Are the Matter back to the States for the rest of the season. But yeah, Mr. Penn, like legendary artist, you know, like Punta Rock, like he does all of these things. And, you know, just being able to sit like with him in his space and get to just hear him speak at all was just like phenomenal because, and you'll notice like with the episode 3 of Kevin, he's like a much younger artist. I had to ask him a lot of questions, right? With Penn, I just sat there and listened, you know, just sat there and listened, just soak up all that game, soak up all that knowledge because he studied the masters and he became a master in his own right because of that. So yeah.
Well, it definitely says a lot about the growth of artistry, right? The ways that lived experience plays out in artistry.
Absolutely.
So you can see that, you know, when I love how you just made that dichotomy between a younger artist and somebody who's just more seasoned.
Yeah.
They, you know, have more lived experience. And honestly, he had so many great stories to tell. It was great for you to just be able to sit there
just
and listen.
To sit. I was completely content just sitting there and listening to him talk. Like it was just great.
Yeah, we were on the sidelines like the other queens of Converge, you know, Jules, Besa, and myself, and we were on the sidelines and we were just like, man, he's over there dropping gems.
Because so
we were looking at your face and you're like, man.
I was starstruck, honestly, but it was awesome. And I can't wait to go back to Belize. Thank you, Mr. Penn Cayetano. Thank you, Kevin Morales. Thank you, Alaska Airlines. Thank you, Ministry of Tourism Belize for an amazing, again, the journey of a lifetime. So
it really was. I mean, I know we have so much more in the vault.
I'm so excited.
It comes to, all the stuff that we captured a lot down there. And, you know, we have more coming, I'm sure,
we do.
You know, a lot more. So you now have episode 5 about to be coming out. I mean, the show is flowing every other Monday. You're keeping it going. Tell us about what we can expect for episode 5 of Art of the Matter.
Absolutely. So we're getting the promo started early on this one. Episode 5 actually features Mr. Joey Nix. So the art of industry is what I'm calling this one. And again, Joey, you know, comes from a background of industry. His parents owned a tugboat. You know, he has this sort of like industrial sort of upbringing. He grew up around, you know, industry and machinery in that sort of like beginning of industry. You know, when you think about America, you think about the Industrial Revolution and how that changed the way that we became a society, right? His upbringing is that, and he shows that through his art, and he, you know, invites people to just like take a moment to understand, you know, like these things made us who we are. So we have to revere them in a way, you know, and I think he does it in such a beautiful way. So we'll get to talk to Joey. We got to catch up with him, obviously, at his show, Hold On. We go to his bar. He owns the Jupiter Bar in Belltown as well, which is the arcade bar down there. Really, really fun art space. And we got to, you know, chop it up with him, talk about Hold On, talk about art, talk about the last couple of years as a business owner, what that's been like for him. And talk about, of course, like the mural, like he was a part of that as well. So we talked about that and, you know, just catching up, man. Love Joey.
Well, this is going to be really great. I mean, honestly, the exciting thing for me is that there is such a juxtaposition between you being a business owner during this pandemic,
right,
as well as an artist. So I'm sure that stuff comes through in Hold On in that exhibition. You know, this is for me, I think, you know, I've said it before, but I think it's so important. Artistry also is such an example of history.
Yes.
And when you go back and you look at certain exhibits, you look at certain pieces, even individually, they speak to a zeitgeist.
Yes.
Right. They speak to the sign of the times.
Yes.
And ultimately, you know, to hear that, you know, you probably are, it's an amazing episode coming up for 5 because that is something that I think is unique in nature too, for Joey to be able to experience that, particularly in an area that really experienced the pandemic hard hit.
Huge
downtown
change.
Seattle,
yes,
right? I
absolutely.
mean, you're used to so much foot traffic,
right?
And then it's complete crickets.
Ghost town. Yeah.
You know, and so many of our businesses had to deal with that.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. So you get to dive into that with Joey.
We dive into that with Joey, episode 5, March 21st.
March 21st.
Yeah.
Coming up, T-Dub, as always, amazing. Thank you for being, thank you for getting outside,
you know, me outside
and being out here in community, because
I try to do it.
You know, I think that I'm learning through your experiences, and I can't thank you enough for that. You know, I don't get to go to every single thing, but the ones I do go to, I'm like, T-Dub was on the money with this.
You know,
I'm like, T-Dub was on the money. Okay. Yeah. You know, she's not steering us wrong.
I never that. I do want to, before I get off the TV, I want to say, Happy birthday to my baby, Kayla Bailey. It's her birthday this weekend, so we're going to be celebrating the Gutter Queen this weekend. Yeah, so I just wanted to say really quick, thank you, babe. I love you. Happy birthday.
Give that love.
Yes.
I'm here for it all day long.
Absolutely.
T-Dub, as always, an honor and a pleasure to have you
Likewise,
with
Trey.
me today.
Thank you.
Absolutely.